Hey, what's up, neighbors? Welcome to the Big Idea Camp summer series called Road Trip. We're in week 2, and I'm glad that you're here with us today. My name's Jeremy, by the way. I'm kind of going to act like your tour guide this week and for the next 6 weeks. But welcome to this idea we're calling Road Trip. And I know every summer is loaded with great road trips. If you're like me, you get the family in the car and you head some way, right? Well, hopefully you're going to some great places this summer. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're staying home, and that's okay too. But I just hope that you're having an incredible summer so far. But welcome to our road trip. Now, we kicked things off last week. We talked a lot about your direction in life. We introduced you to the principle of the path by Andy Stanley, an amazing leader in America. And he said it this way. He said that it's your direction, not your intention, that determines your destination. That makes sense, right? If you want to get somewhere, it really matters how you're getting there, that you're headed the right way. I cannot wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to Miami, Florida, which is about, 1,000 miles south of me, and then decide that I'll go north. I'm not going to get to Miami Beach. I'm not going to get in the sand if I go north. If I keep going 1,000 miles north, I'm going to end up seeing the snow mountains in Canada. So that's what we did last week. We talked about that. We talked about life's like a road trip. It matters where you want to go. It matters where you want to go, so it matters how you get there, right? And so a lot of us want to get somewhere in life. We want to end up in a specific place. Goals. And we talked last week how important it is to set goals. Small ones. Small goals, short-term goals, and long goals, long-term goals. Like right now, I just turned 40. It's almost like the midway point per the average lifespan in America. I'm halfway there, but I don't feel like I'm halfway there. I don't even feel like I'm close to halfway where I want to be in life. I've got a long way to go. But the truth is that's okay. I have a lot that I want to accomplish before my time on this earth is finished, but I'm on the way. I feel like I'm getting there. I'm aimed in the right direction that I want to be. But if I'm truly honest with you, if I'm truly transparent, I need to understand, and I really need to act accordingly to the fact that much like a car, my body is only good for a number of miles. I've only got a specific amount of years left. So it really matters. It really matters which way I'm headed. It really, really matters. And so for you, I hope that your brain thought about some ideas, that you were thinking about some goals. What are your short-term goals? Maybe this summer. Maybe there's some new skills that you want to acquire, a new game that you want to learn how to play. Maybe there's a new video game you want to get a specific point. Maybe you're playing a sport and you want to achieve some sort of skill. I hope that you have those goals. Maybe you're thinking long-term goals. Maybe you're thinking about how you want to, the grades that you want to make this next school year. That's excellent. Maybe you're at the age where you're thinking about getting a job. Maybe you need to make some money. And so you're thinking, man, if I work here for just a little bit, over time, I'll get more of a paycheck. That's important, guys. And so remember, as we discussed, the principle of the path, it's your direction, not your intention, that determines your destination. That intention means you want or hope or wish. I wish I woke up at the beach, but I promise if I don't take some steps, get in the car, drive some miles, I'm going to wake up right here in my home in Catlettsburg, Kentucky. So remember, you're never going to get to South Beach if you go north. So last week we talked about your goals, your destination. Well, this week's a little bit different. We got 2 things I want to look at today. Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you've thought about your goals and you've thought about where you want to go. Well, today, I'm assuming we're all moving towards that goal. There's 2 things that I want to talk to you about today. Pretty simple, but also it should be a little bit deep as well. So deep and simple is what we're after. Number 1, and I'll say it right now, don't travel alone and don't pick up strangers. Let's talk about that. Don't travel alone. I'm probably the poster child for this. I've never been good with having authentic friendships. A lot of times in my life, I listen to the voice that says, Jeremy, you should do that alone. You can go out alone. Don't ask them for help. Don't bother them. They probably don't have time for you anyway, Jeremy. And that's what I'm telling myself. And it's probably a lie, but I start to believe that lie. And so even like running an organization in a company, sometimes I just never ask for help because I don't think people want to help me. Even at 40 years old, I still want to be liked. I want to be accepted by people. I want to fit in, but I'm afraid that I won't, and so I don't try as I should. It's important. It's important in life, the people that are around you. So that's the question. Who's in your car? Who are the people that are in your car? Don't travel alone. I love this quote. It's by John Maxwell. He once said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. That's such a good statement. We as people, we were made for community. We were made for friendships. We were made for relationships. We were made to do this thing called life together. Most of the time I shy away from that, and it's something I really want to work on. Having an authentic relationship is not an easy thing. To trust someone with your feelings, to really be able to talk about how you feel, it's hard. To talk about your perspective, to say, man, this is what I'm thinking. You got to trust them. You got to trust that they're not going to think you're a big weirdo, right? You just have to trust that scenario. My hero Fred Rogers once had a saying. He said that the greatest gift that you could ever give someone in this world, the greatest gift you could give someone in this world is your authentic self. And at the Fred Rogers Center, one of my favorite places in the world, which I'm getting ready to go to this coming week, by the way, I'm going to be there Thursday and Friday. He said it's okay to make mistakes, but be fearlessly authentic. The title of the upstairs exhibit at the Fred Rogers Center says, Fearlessly Authentic. I think it's probably the most brave people on the planet that are themselves. How are you doing with that? So who you have in the car is very important. Does that make sense? Who's in your car? Who's on the journey with you? Because hopefully they're encouraging. All along in life, it's good to have these friendships. So let me tell you about this. I really believe that this lifelong journey is best lived when we have the people around us who encourage us. Who's in your car? Are they people that encourage you? Are they people that build you up? Are they people that are quick to forgive you? If you fall and you make a mistake, are they the ones that pick you up, dust you off, and say, come on, we can do this again. We can do better than that. Those are the people that you need to have in your car. It's never good to be in your car alone. We've talked about that. You've probably heard this. I've been at your school. It's one of my favorite stories in the world. In the 1990s, there was the Special Olympics event. It was in Seattle, Washington, in a huge stadium. Now, Special Olympics, it is for people that are quote unquote handicapped. But you'll never hear me say anything about these individuals, about them being less than. So there was this 100-yard dash. There was an event where 7 kids, 7 special athletes lined up at the starting line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starting block. Gun goes off. They take off running, chugging down the line. It's at 100 yards. So it's the length of a football field, right? And about 20 yards into it, one young man tripped over his feet and he fell and he hit the ground pretty hard. He skinned his knees and they were bleeding. The other kids were running harder. Well, one turns around and they see the other one. He was in first place. He was going to win. He stopped running. And in that moment, the other 5 athletes, all 6 that were running, stopped running. They looked because they saw that their friend was by. Now, they didn't really know this other friend. They're from all different parts of the country. It was the Olympics, the Special Olympics. They're from everywhere. But all 6 of those kids looked back at the 7th who was fallen. And they each turned around. And they went back to him. And they picked him up. Matter of fact, one of the young girls kissed her fingers and put it on his knee that was bleeding. She said, "This will help your boo-boo." And they stood up together. And they locked arms. And they walked together the entire way. And they crossed the finish line, you guessed it, at the exact same time. The stadium erupted. People got on their feet, applaud, whistle. It was crazy, screaming. What an amazing celebration, because I think you understand, much like those athletes understood, that sometimes the best part in life is when we help others win with us. Who's in your car? It matters, because you can influence them too. I always heard the story, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You show me the people that are in your car, and I guarantee you your direction can either be better Or it could be worse. There's a flip side to this coin. When I said don't pick up strangers, this is what I'm talking about. But what is a stranger? Well, listen, it's kind to be cool. It's great to be nice. It is extremely good to be encouraging and helpful. But it's very important to be safe as well. On your journey, there will be strangers that try to get in your car, that will try to influence you. And maybe it's not so positive. I mean, think about it. What happens when you are around the people in this world that pressure you to make bad decisions? Bad choices, not healthy ideas. I mean, it may sound fun in a moment, like, man, let's go do this. It's kind of wild and crazy. And it sounds cool for a second, but then reality sets in and you say, whoa. Maybe not. Those people over time, if they're in your car, you're more likely to get off track. You're more likely to miss your destination. You're more likely to veer off and go down the path you don't want to go. So again, I have a really hard question to ask. Do you have any strangers in your car right now? And I'm not talking about your family station wagon with the wooden paneling like I talked about my family last week. But do you have any people that are close enough to you that they can grab the steering wheel and get you off path? Make you less healthy? Maybe you have friends that make you doubt yourself. Maybe you have friends when you're around them, you realize that you end up becoming a whole different person. They minimalize your value. They don't believe in the things you believe in. Honestly, the truth is, you got to drop those people off. Soon. Now. You may have a friend, think of it this way, you might have a friend who wants to borrow your car. Now think about this, at some point you're going to be old enough where you're driving, maybe you're driving now. When you get your own car, you take care of it, man. It's the only car you have in that moment. You change the oil, you get gas in it, you may even wash and wax and clean it and vacuum out the inside to make it look clean. When you have children, that gets a little bit harder. Let's just be honest, my expectations are a little bit lower for us that have kids that leave french fries under the seats. That happens. But you'll take care of your car. Now maybe you have someone that needs to borrow your car, and it is very kind of you to consider that. And maybe you'll let them borrow your car. But what if that car was not taken care of? What if you have a friend that wants to borrow your car, but he scratches it? Doesn't mean to, but he kind of scratches it. Maybe gets a dent in the door because he's opening the door at a store or whatever. Or maybe it just gets really muddy. Maybe he goes through some bad places and he doesn't wash it off. Or they don't put gas in the car. Maybe they just trash it altogether. I mean, you find smelly bags of food a week later because your friend left there. If you had a friend that continually disrespected your car and trashed it every week, here's what I promise you. You're probably not going to let them borrow your car that much, are you? But if you care that much about your car, if you can say to yourself, no man, I wouldn't let them do that to me. That's disrespectful. I want to take care of my car. Well, why don't we feel the same way about our lives? There are people who want to borrow your time and borrow your attention. They're just going to trash it. They're not going to take care of you. They're not going to fill up your gas tank, as in, they're not going to be the people that are saying the important words to you like, you matter to me. You're important to me. I'm proud of you. Wow, look how much you're growing. Those are the people that you need in your car. So let's wrap up this week with that honest question again. Who's in your car? Who is going with you on your journey? It's great to have encouraging people around you. And you can be encouragement around other people. That's why it's important to have people in the car. But again, I want you to be careful with who's in your car, who is on the journey with you, who is speaking into your ear when you are driving. Who are those people? If you're being influenced by people that try to get you off your path, try to get you away from where you need to be going, drop them off at the bus station. You don't need to have those unhealthy friendships and those unhealthy relationships. Yeah, I care about where they're going. I care about those people, but I cannot let them steer me in the bad way. Remember, guys, it's your direction, not your intention. You could have great intentions. Well, maybe I'll take a detour and we'll all get there together. Listen, very unlikely, okay? It's your direction, not your intention, that ultimately determines your destination. And I hope this makes sense. And I hope this makes sense in the road trip scheme of our mentality this summer. Because I do believe you're going somewhere. And I want you to get there. And I want you to get there on time. And I want you to get there on purpose. And I want you to get there with some people that can celebrate the destination. You're going places, guys. And I'm so extremely proud of who you are, who you're becoming, and how you are changing this world. So next week, I'm going to invite you to one of the most crazy questions ever asked at any car trip. Matter of fact, in just a couple days, I'm taking my 9-year-old. We're going to go to Pittsburgh. It's a 5-hour drive. And I know already that he is going to ask me this at least 12 million times. Hey, are we there yet? That's what we're going to talk about next week. That dreaded question that us fathers are just so happy to hear every 3 miles. Are we there yet? We're going to discuss how we can measure growth on our journey. But this week, last week we did goals. This week I want you to ask yourself who is in the car with you. Who's on the journey with you? And I really want you to think about it. Are they helping you get there, or are they trying to pull you away? It's not easy, but it's important. And that's why we have these talks together, because it's important to me where you're going. Guys, have a great week. We'll see you next week with Are We There Yet?